Hey everyone, officially we're not supposed to call this Baby Yoda, but oh well, who cares? It's the LEGO Star Wars The Child large buildable sculpture from the Mandalorian. Let's take a closer look. As far as size is concerned, you saw it next to me, and here's the little minifig version down here. We'll take a closer look at that. This is a regular Yoda, or an actual Yoda, and then just for the sake of completeness, a regular full height minifigure. Pretty sizable and a nice build. So we'll just come back to this a little bit later on. I want you to see what this looks like all the way around. Similar to the actual Yoda statue that they did, this is built around a mostly hollow core with some Technic supports going up the center to make sure that everything stays together nicely. And then it is built from 4 sides. So the front is attached, the sides are attached, the back is attached, and each of those is its own standalone build. The arms are also separate builds themselves, but most of the robe here is built up. So like all this, you can see all the studs are facing that way. There's very little studs on the side construction within that. So most of that, you build it just flat on the table as it goes, and then when it's all done, it gets just attached upright. And the arms are attached to the sides as, again, separate assemblies afterwards. I very much like what they did with the sleeves. Like, it really looks like there's a lot of draping going on, not just with the sleeves, but all the robes. Like, they feel lazy. It feels like heavy cloth, you know, that's just drooping down and is oversized for the character, which is pretty darn perfect. And there's a lot of movement to this. It feels like it's just kind of plopped on the spot, which is exactly what I want to see for this character. The head is the very last thing that you build, and you also build the ears separately so that they can be angled down, like so. They can go pretty far, and they can also be angled up, or you can just get them flat. Now you see that the head is able to kind of wobble around. It's actually on a ball joint. It's not too high up in its mounting, so you can angle this back. You can angle it forward and go just a little bit side to side. I wish there was a little bit more room for side to side movement, but I do appreciate the attempt to minimize the gap underneath the chin there. You can also open and close the mouth like so. Doesn't look so great there in the center, like it's a suggestion of teeth perhaps, but I prefer the area, just being able to see the area that has a little bit of dark red in there, just inside the mouth. Open it up a little bit more. Starts to look a little bit like a cat to me, a little bit awkward. The little nose is cool. The eyes are printed pieces. They're angled off. I really like the corners of the eyes, how those get angled around, such as they are. Those are inverted tiles, inverted round 2x2 tiles that are printed. That's pretty nice. The printing itself is a dark brown color. I believe it has a black underneath as well to make sure that it adheres properly. But there's also a little bit of forward to back sliding ability here. It can move just one single stud worth to make sure that you can really get that chin up close to the robes. So it gives me room to have the head going up, and then you can bring it back. So what I just did was slide it back while angling down, and then I can angle it down like so. So you can really tuck the chin in like that. Again, I do wish that there was a little bit more ability to move this, especially side to side, but it was a compromise, and I prefer not having a major gap here. Like, it's better to have it look good in a limited number of poses than to have it look bad in a few more poses or with just a little bit more range. Again, see just how this is like nice and tight around here. So if I push this forward there, still like the shaping around the back of the hood, it's pretty good. You know, some care was put into that, and the shaping around the head in general is pretty nice. I don't know about these tan bits here. I don't think I've seen, or I don't think I recall seeing the character with the, you know, just looking at the back of the head in the show, and that might just be my bad. Now, when these ears are down, you do get to see these gaps, and that is awkward and that is unfortunate. But again, between having this ability and being able to have good poses from most angles, look at that, you do it opposite ways. I mean, that's valuable to me. So here, a little bit of compromise. Inserted extra gap, I prefer that to the other option. The hands each have 3 articulated fingers appropriately. You have more articulation for these straight ones than for the thumb. Yeah, it's just not a whole lot of range for the thumb there. But you also have the entire hand on a ball joint, so that's able to move around a bit. You can kind of change the overall pose of that. It's not a spoiler at this point to mention what this object is. If you have not seen Season 1 of The Mandalorian, you should not be watching videos about The Mandalorian. I'm not going to give any Season 2 spoilers, but this is from Season 1, and I'm going to say what it is right now so you can just skip through like 15 seconds of the video if you don't want to hear. It's also covered on the plaque officially for this set that we're going to see later on. It's the lever from the cockpit of the Razor Crest, just kind of like the shift knob essentially that he likes to play around with. But I believe this is a new color for this piece. This was originally used on a SpongeBob figure many years ago. It's actually metallic silver. Looks a little bit gray from some angles under some lighting conditions, but it actually does have a little bit of metallic sheen, and it's designed to be able to pop off. It's too bad that that's blue. I don't know if that's canonically correct. I kind of wish that it was just some other color, but fortunately it's just one single stud. So we can easily change that out if we want to. And then over here on the other side, the other hand has the same build to it, the same design, but there's not as much you can do with this one. You can do some posing with it, or the same amount of posing ultimately, but it's just down here. So it's not as easy to get something useful out of that, really contributing to the appearance and the emotion of the pose overall. So I'm going to show the plaque, and again, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Season 1 and you really, really care about every tiny little detail, just skip past this whole part of the video where I'm showing the plaque at all. I'm going to remove my finger now, just being as accommodating as I reasonably can be. But there's the kind of miniature UCS style plaque for this one. Doesn't give a whole lot of information, but of course it does also support the miniature version of the figure. Nice to always include one of those. And there's the figure up close. It's the exact same version that they included with the Razor Crest set. So the same print for the torso there, nothing exclusive. And the head is made out of a semi-malleable material. So you're not going to easily break off the relatively thin ears that are part of that. And you can just turn the head. Also got bar-sized hands, so you can potentially clip something to it, but we don't have anything small enough to represent the small little silver thing to put on the hand of this one. Also, the arms don't move with these little figures, but I think this is more than good enough for what it's intended to be. And then here are the leftover pieces, just a handful of them, the smallest parts, and the sticker sheet for this set is almost inconsequential to look at because it only had the one sticker for the plaque. This retails for $80 US for well over 1,000 pieces, giving it a nice price to part ratio. And that's good to see, given the fact that so many of the parts here are 1x1s or 1x2s or 1x3s. Like, there are a lot of small pieces here, so I don't want to see a normal price to part ratio. I want to see something better, and that's what we got. So I think the overall value ends up being pretty decent. For some people, it may be noteworthy that the box art here is very noisy in the background. It looks like they took a screenshot, a still capture from an episode of the show and then blew it up and then tried to increase the gamma to make it pop a little bit more. And you can see a lot of the noise that got picked up in there along the way. Also, with the box, I usually don't care much about boxes, but I really don't like the fact that this has the thumb push sections. I don't know what the official name for that is. I cut my box to open it up, without doing damage to it. But for something this large, to have those destructive elements there is not particularly fun. From what I understand, it's usually the US and, North American market in general that gets the tape, and a lot of other people get this kind of stuff for even boxes of this size, and I don't like it. I don't want anybody to have that. This is a better the child statue than the Yoda statue was a Yoda, in my opinion. This is done better. This better captures the source material. Fine details of the build, I think, are better. They got the eyes and the shaping of the eyes right, I feel, or as right as you could. Again, the draping of all the cloth just feels good. Would have been nice to be able to like pop the arm off and then rotate it and attach it in a different way. But then you would lose out on the correct shaping of how the simulated cloth flows for that. Again, I do wish that there was a little bit more range of motion for the head, but I recognize that then it would have bigger gaps. So we end up with just the gaps around the ears and that one single blue stud under here as things for me to nitpick about and to dislike. Otherwise, the rest of it, I'm very satisfied with. I think that a lot more people will end up liking this than liked the Yoda statue, even though Yoda has been around for so long, has been liked for most of his existence, and is liked probably more today than ever. The draw of the character, I think, was not enough to overcome the weird eyes and some of the strange just elements of the face that didn't capture the character right. This does about as good as I could possibly ask for, honestly. It was fun to put together, and look, it's even close-ish, well, closer than any of the other ones we've gotten, to real scale, like to one-to-one scale. So I'm just almost 100% happy with this thing. It's only little stuff that I feel could have been done better at all. And the value feels pretty decent for a collectible display item. There you go. I've got the builds for this. If they're not up at the time of your viewing of this review video here, they should be up soon. Pure build, speed build, the channels for those two separate channels are in the end screen and also in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.